Hello, welcome back to Drunk Storytime with Quefish. I am Quefish. I am finishing Barefoot Pink Moscato and Chambord. So, something new tonight. This is actually a story. It's from the MCU. This is my first MCU reading. And it's by Caedmon, who asked me to read it because she didn't know that I was willing to do other fandoms. And I'm like, of course I will. I don't care. I prefer fandoms that I'm somewhat familiar with because obviously I don't want to read something for somebody and have it be utterly wrong, sound-wise or like pacing or something like that. I don't want to, fuck up somebody's story like that. So, but since Caedmon asked, I'm willing to fuck up her story. I'm kidding. I'm actually familiar with MCU. Anyway, so this is not rated. I've never understood that. If it's not rated, that could be anything. It should always be something. Anyway, so this is called Triple Dog Dare. Tony Stark finds out that Clint Barton enjoys the National Lampoon movies and that he is constitutionally incapable of turning down a triple dog dare. Triple Dog Dare was actually from A Christmas Story, I think. I don't remember it from... Anyway, it's a triple dog dare, Bertie. You can't back out. Tony's eyes were gleaming with mischief, and that never, ever ended well. I'm not backing out, Clint answered, stomping his feet in the snow against the cold. He sounded much more like a sullen, swaggering little boy than he had ever hoped to. It's just that... Just what? Tony taunted. You chicken, Hawk? He and Sam both tittered at this joke, and Clint gave them a withering look. No, I'm not the least bit afraid, you jackass. It's just that if we get caught, Nat is going to kill me. I'm not being metaphorical. She'll take my ass out. Sam laughed. If she hasn't by now, I'd say you're good. Tony chimed in. Besides, isn't her signature move to choke you out with her thighs? Can you think of a better way to go? Clint growled. Watch it, Stark, unless you want an arrow in your inseam. I almost said sternum. Inseam would be worse, probably, for Tony. Sam grinned for a second, then turned to Tony. He's right, though. If he breaks it, he couldn't possibly. My old man designed it, and it stood the test of time, clearly. Yeah, but you're just here for moral support, little birdie, and to make sure he follows the terms of the dare. Big birdie, you need to get right with God. Tony chuckled as he bent back to the shield. Oh my God, are they fixing to use Cap's shield as a sled? Oh my God. Sam shot Clint a half-amused, half-apologetic look and blew in his hands to warm them. Clint bowed his head and took Tony's advice, praying. Not for a reprieve or for his safety, but for some kind of miracle to happen and Natasha to never find out that his dumbass had taken this dare. In a way, maybe he actually was praying for his safety. Tony rubbed his hands briskly and turned to face the other two men. Now, as you can see, we're ready for you to fulfill the terms of this triple dog dare. You were dared to take Cap's shield and use it to reenact the sled scene from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is such a bad idea, Clint muttered. What's that, Bertie? You want to back out? No. You sure? I wouldn't mind. Because if you back out, you're required to announce my superiority in all areas, every morning, every communal meal, and at other random times deemed by me. Correct? Clint swore foully. We still on, Bertie? Yes, Clint ground out. Excellent. Well, first things first, I have to start, and I've decided to be completely accurate. He pulled out a small bottle of spray and began spraying it on the shield. This is a liquid polymer petroleum blend that will not only give it reflective and refractive capabilities that we won't go into here, but it's also made the shield hundreds of times more slippery than any known substance on Earth. This piece of patriotism is going to be slick and fast. And that sounded way more homoerotic out loud than it did in my head. Sam belly laughed and Clint snorted despite his bad mood. What did you really develop this lube for, metalhead? You seriously want to mess with me right now, Bertie? I'll tell Spidey on you. Clint muttered under his breath and took the proffered shield, while Sam continued to laugh. Now, Tony said cheerfully. Clint, don't you have something to say? I said my part. Clint shot him a murderous look, then spoke through gritted teeth. I don't know that I want any of that special lube on here. You know that metal plate in my head? Tony was fairly bouncing. Sam had to cover his head, a hand over his mouth to stifle his giggles. Yeah, what about it? Clint swallowed hard, in a monotone. They had to switch it out because every time Nat would rev up the microwave, Clint closed his eyes and shook his head. I pissed my pants and forget who I was for about 30 minutes. Over Tony and Sam's howls, Clint asked, Is that enough? We good yet? Sam recovered first. Clint has always seen him as a nice guy, a friend, but his opinion changed when Sam answered between laughs. No, you gotta do the rest. Clint scrubbed his face and looked up at the sky, watching his breath turn to steam before lowering his head and setting his jaw. Over at the hospital, they replaced it with a plastic one. It ain't as strong as the metal one. I don't know if I need to be flying down no hill with nothing between the ground and my brain but a piece of government plastic. Sam and Tony were doubled over. Clint shook his head at them. I hate you assholes. Tony straightened up a little and looked at Clint, gasping. Do you really think it would make a difference? Clint raised his gloved hand to his head and flipped the two of them the bird before using his middle finger to point at his head, sending them to fresh peals of laughter. See, the plate runs right underneath my part, over here. He smacked the opposite side of his head. Ain't nothing. But right here, he flipped them the bird again, then went back to pointing at his head with his middle finger. If this gets dented, my hair just ain't gonna look right. Tony fell over in the snow, and Sam clutched his sides, coughing. Clint looked at nothing, praying again that Nat would never find out, knowing that somehow she would. She always found everything out. He was screwed. Are we ready yet, you dickholes? Tony stumbled to his feet, brushing the snow off of himself and wiping his eyes. Yeah, go ahead. Don't forget the rest of your lines. He snickered some more, apparently the mere thought of what was upcoming. Clint sat the shield down in the snow and knelt down on it, rocking back and forth a couple times. All right, here we go. Remember, don't try this at home. I am a professional. He took one more deep breath and whispered one more prayer for Natasha's ignorance. Going for a new international amateur land speed snow shield record. Clinton F. Barton. Okay, later, dudes. Hang 10. Fuck you. Tony and Sam howled laughter as Clint rocked once, twice, then pushed off and screamed, "Oh, shit!" as he disappeared down the hill in a blur of red, white, blue, and purple. Sam, Tony, and Clint lay in the infirmary, bruised and battered. I can't decide, Clint said. I don't know if my favorite part was when Cap knocked your heads together, or when Nat cartwheeled and flipped each of you onto your backs before smacking you around like a cat with a toy. Tony groaned. Don't remind me. Clint chuckled, then groaned himself and clutched at his taped ribs. Sam tried to grin, but grimaced instead. I tell you, I'd take that beating again. Totally worth it. I'd love to see all of that again. Clint leaned back on his pillows. Well, that's just tough shit. I'm never doing it again. I'm in deep enough shit with Nat, but she might just speak to me again if I grovel enough. Tony curled his lip at Clint as best he could around the cuts and blackened eye. We don't need you to do it again. I recorded the whole thing. That's cute. Yay! Yep. That was cute. Kind of, because see, what I thought when he started screaming, and my eyes, because this is what eyes do, is they jump down to like different parts of the page. That's just what eyeballs do. And when I saw Cap, but that's like, you know. And so when he screamed oh shit and I saw Cap, my first thought was that Cap like came out of nowhere and snatched it out from underneath him, and he just went and just flew on its own. Just from like the memento, he just whack, that's mine. Because that also would have been very funny. You know, just whack. But that was cute. That was fun. So that was Triple Dog Dare by Caedmon from the MCU. Thank you very much for joining me.